The big headlines, viewers, on the hard facts tonight, and it is looking like one of those big declarations by Donald Trump. Whether he honors them or not, we don't know, but Trump makes it clear amid the West Asia onslaught, says there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian says some countries have initiated efforts for mediation. But while Tehran is committed to lasting peace, it will not hesitate in defending the dignity and authority of Iran. That's the other big headline coming out of Iran, viewers. It's a full-out war of words and, of course, a hot war. Israeli Air Force expands strikes on Hezbollah units in Lebanon, hits Iranian embassy in Beirut as it tries to outflank the guerrilla tactics of Iran. And as oil prices spike sharply, big energy boost for India. United States issues a 30-day waiver allowing India to continue purchasing Russian oil. Viewers, this is a massive U-turn by DC. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the Gulf allies of the United States. Qatar's energy minister warns oil price could rise to $150 per barrel in 2 or 3 weeks if tankers remain unable to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Says this will bring down the economies of the entire world. And viewers, Iran launches fresh strikes on Bahrain and Kuwait. While a state-run oil refinery is targeted in Bahrain, a US base is hit in Kuwait. The Saudis are feeling the pinch. The Gulf is aflame because of Trump's war. Viewers, Donald Trump has done a massive somersault. In a surprising turn of events, Washington, D.C. has declared that it will allow Delhi to purchase Russian oil. Now remember, viewers, one of the preconditions for signing a trade deal with Russia, with the United States rather, viewers, was that India would stop purchasing Russian oil, because Donald Trump has said that when India purchases Russian oil, it finances Putin's war against Ukraine. And that hampers any attempt to mediate a peaceful resolution of that conflict. And now, viewers, Scott Bessent, US Treasury Secretary, has come out and said that there will be a temporary 30-day waiver to allow Indian refiners to purchase Russian oil. That short-term measure won't provide significant financial benefit to Russia, only authorizing transactions involving oil already stranded at sea. India is an essential partner of the United States. We fully anticipate that New Delhi will ramp up purchases of US oil. So viewers, here is a bit of give, but there's also a take. The threat of US sanctions has led India to slowly taper off purchases from Russia. And let me break this down for you, viewers. You can see it on your screens on the extreme right. In January 2025, let's keep those visuals on the side and keep the war visuals in the middle. Yeah, that's the screen we want because it tells you the whole story, viewers. In January 2025, 1.67 million barrels per day was what India was importing from Russia. In September 2025, that came down marginally because Russian discounts had started tapering off. So Russia was giving us big discounts after a while it decided not to. And that led to India in December cutting back almost 30-40 million barrels of oil per day from Russia. By January 2026, we had almost got this down by 65 million barrels, viewers. So it was on a downward trajectory, but we did not stop importing Russian oil even when A gun was literally put to our head, a tariff gun, not a real gun. But now India can reverse that trend, which is a much needed reprieve, given that millions of barrels of oil and gas are stuck near the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow Gulf choke point through which nearly half of India's crude oil and gas imports transits. The stranglehold has led to the spiking of oil prices. Tehran has threatened to attack vessels attempting to pass through since the US and Israel began their war against Iran. And this is what the Iranians said: the Strait of Hormuz is off limits to US, Israel, and Europe. Violators will face drone and missile strikes. We have the right to control the Strait of Hormuz. Viewers, in waiving the sanctions threat on India, the US has exhibited classic show me the man and I'll show you the rules hypocrisy. Why? Because one of the unintended and clearly unanticipated consequences of the US war in Iran has been the disruption of one of the world's most critical economic arteries, the Strait of Hormuz. With that single move, Iran has dramatically escalated the economic cost of Trump's war. As long as Tehran can threaten a chokehold on Hormuz, it retains leverage, wildly disproportionate to its fortunes on the battlefield, and that leverage is already visible in the markets. Washington knows that a sustained spike in oil prices could fracture the fragile coalition backing its war effort, which is where India enters the equation. Given its centrality to the Indian Ocean region and West Asia, New Delhi is perhaps the single most consequential ally whose cooperation the US cannot afford to lose. The waiver therefore stems from strategic necessity. The BJP has naturally claimed the reversal as a big win for India's oil diplomacy. BJP national spokespeople have been coming out and saying India's oil diplomacy has succeeded. And it has gone on to say our action averted market disruption. The question remains, has Trump's overreach on attacking Iran, on bullying India, misreading the fallout of the war returned to haunt him